Okay, well, this is could be an interesting show today. We have a reaction extra point show today on the Northtown Automotive extra point show on a Buffalo Football Friday on WGR Sports Radio 550. Sal Capaccio with you here today to talk all about everything you just heard and more about what went down in Houston last night. The Bills falling 23-19 to the Houston Texans. And of course, every single Friday on the Extra Point Show, it is brought to you by Celino Law. Car crash, call Celino. Call the 8 to buy Crosby's Pizza and Subs. Crosby's hometown fuel, game day ready since 1922. The differences today are today's show becomes more of a Monday type of reaction show. Not a normal Friday where we have Sean McDermott. We're obviously not having Sean McDermott. We will have him later. He will speak, I should say, to the media a little bit later today to update injuries and things like that. There are plenty of injuries to get updated on from the Buffalo Bills last night. So we'll hear from Sean McDermott a little bit later. And we're going to take your phone calls today on what went down. So a reaction show today. And, of course, you can jump into the YouTube stream as well and the bullpen. And that is at WGR 550 on YouTube. So check that out. Let me just adjust my camera a little bit there. So you have to go up and down. Because I am today at Studio Capaccio. There you go. So I'm at Studio Capaccio today. And hopefully everybody can see me and hear me okay because we're ready to hear from you on the phone lines at 803-0550. Thanks a lot for coming in. As always, we got Robert, IDL716. We got Mega. We got Jiglia. We got Bill C. User T numbers. I'd just like to say AC Man, as always. Thank you. 999 something here. JT from USA. So, yep, I'm seeing you. I got you there. And you guys can kind of talk right there. And as I always say, the bullpen is free to you for you to talk, but it's really probably not for me to talk to you in very much today because I'm going to be taking phone calls and walking through what's going on and what happened last night in Houston. So we'll get right to that here. A really tough night for the Buffalo Bills offense especially. Started off with a tough night for the Buffalo Bills defense. They actually turned it around, though. The Bills defense held the Houston Texans to 60 yards of offense in the second half. In the first half, the Houston Texans had a total of 201 yards of offense. I mean, think about that. You're like, how do you give up 200 yards of offense and a half to a Davis Mills-led offense? 201 yards. The Texans finished with 261 yards. So they finished with 60 yards in the second half. First half, not a good performance by the defense. They turned it around. First half, not a great performance by the offense. Second half, even worse by the standard of scoring points, making critical plays. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And you've had time to digest it. I have not listened a ton this morning to Jeremy and Joe. And partly, well, there's a few reasons that I actually joined them. If you want to hear my segment earlier with them, you can find that. But I actually joined them this morning. Otherwise, I really didn't listen much. And there was a couple of reasons. Number one was I got back on from Houston last night at literally the sun was coming up, I think. It was like 5 in the morning. And had to get some rest in before this show. But the other part is, I just didn't want to be kind of tainted in what I thought you might be saying and wanted to be more organic today. Although I can kind of predict it because that's what we do here. This is a reaction show. And I know where a lot of the reaction is going to go, but I want to hear you talk about it and your thoughts, which are basically fire this person, fire that person, right? Get rid of the OC, bring Brian Daboll back. It's time has come for McDermott. It's time has come for Bean. If that's what you feel, you have every right to call up and talk about it. I'm not going to stop you. I think there's important things to remember here. That is that the season is not over, although it feels like it. Even Deion Dawkins said that last night. It feels like it's the last game of the season. It's not. Season's not over. But what the Bills' goals are for the season feel like they're slipping away rapidly, right? Feel like they're slipping away rapidly. Meaning not only getting the 1 seed, which is pretty much kind of, at this point, you'd say like a pipe dream, right? You'd have to win out and have a bunch of teams lose. But even winning the division, which I think going into the season seemed to people, and even myself, I would say, like a foregone conclusion. And I know you shouldn't think that way. But because of who the Bills have been and are, and because of who the division has been and we thought might be, it seemed like almost a foregone conclusion that the Bills would win their 6th straight AFC East championship. You wake up this morning, there are 2 losses behind the Patriots and a head-to-head loss behind the Patriots. So, as of right now, not only do you have to beat the Patriots head-to-head, you basically have to hope for them to lose 2 more games on top of that and you to win out. Because you got to finish ahead of them in the standings due to tiebreakers. Unless the Patriots were to lose to the Dolphins or the Jets, then the tiebreaker becomes a little bit different. Then it's conference. And even then, Patriots have a 5-2 record. The conference Bills 4-3. So it's an uphill climb. Bills find themselves right now in the 6th seed of 7 teams in the AFC. And this week, the Jacksonville Jaguars play the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, I think they're favored in that game. They should win. And if the Jags win, they tie the Bills in the standings. And I think they would be passing them, actually. Bills would be a 7th seed. They can't fall any further than that this week. But if the Jags win this week, the Bills could go to 7. Now, Chargers are off, so I guess that wouldn't matter. Pittsburgh is playing, so that could matter with Baltimore. But you get the point I'm making here, which is the Bills are a lot closer to the playoff cut line at this time than they are to winning the division. And that's not a good thing to see. We've seen it before. After 12 weeks of season let me just go here, in 2023, after 12 weeks in 2023, the Bills were actually 6-6 and in the 10th spot in the AFC. They still won the division because Miami collapsed and Deontay Hardy returned a punt a long way for a touchdown to win. But the Bills were 6-6 and in 10th place in the AFC after 12 weeks of 2023. In 2022, after 12 weeks, the Bills were in the 5th seed at 8-3. Better record, but 1 spot higher. And they still went on to win the division. The difference this year is you have a New England team in front of you. Hey, there's 2 differences. You have a New England team in front of you who just isn't slowing down and has a very doable, gettable, winnable schedule, if you will. But the second difference is I think we all see and feel that this team is not the same team that it's been. And that's where we need to start. It's not about last night's game, right? I think last night's game has been a bit of a microcosm of what this season has been for the Bills. It is a roster that does not have enough answers when things are pressing on either side of the ball. Yes, they have injuries, and that plays into it. You can't make excuses for that. Every team has injuries. No doubt the injuries are hurting the Bills. Michael Hoyt's injury certainly hurt the defense. When he came back, he was going to be somebody who could help them. Offensively, they have some wide receiver injuries, but I don't think that's been an issue. Dalton Kincaid's injury, certainly not being on the field, he definitely would have helped last night. But let's be honest, even with Dalton Kincaid in the lineup, this offense has serious flaws. And I think that's where a lot of you have been going and want to go. Yes, the defense does too. And yes, the defense has issues and gets run on. The defense stepped up time after time last night, I thought, to give the offense opportunities. It's never about one thing, one side of the ball, one person. The offense isn't just about Joe Brady. It's not just about play calling. It's not just about the roster and the wide receivers. It's not just about Josh Allen. It's everything. The offensive line last night, certainly. And that's where I think when I get a lot of reaction on social media at Sal Sports. By the way, last night, I knew it, right? Game's over. I'm like, hey, what's your arrow up, arrow down? And how many people said, no arrows up. Terrible, terrible. Nobody deserves one. Well, I know. And that's your job as a fan, to be emotional, reactionary. And I get in the moment you feel that way. But that's how you feel, right? Which is everything's going wrong. It's snowballing. And this team is just not in position. I'm not about to sit here and maybe you want to just give the season up and think that, play for draft choice. I think that's dumb. You don't do that. you still need to try and get in the playoffs and try and win. And in fact, there could be an argument made, to be quite honest with you, that this year being in the playoffs, I know you want the 1 seed, but if you're not going to get the 1 seed, the argument could be made it might be better to be a wild card than there is actually be the 2, 3, or 4, because the 2, 3, or 4 are going to host either Buffalo, Baltimore, maybe Kansas City, whereas the 5, 6, or 7 might go to Denver, Indy, or Pittsburgh, or New England, right? I mean, it's kind of wild like that. I'm not saying it's a better position. I get it. But get in the playoffs, you never know what happens. But right now, I'm not confident that how many wins this team's going to get down the stretch. I think they're still better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, better than the Cleveland Browns, better than the New York Jets, better than Cincy, I think, even with Joe Burrow because of their defense, I think, but who knows about that? Don't know. I doubt they're better than Philly. I don't know. They got a lot of their own issues. So you're probably still looking. And then New England, right? I think they're right there with New England. I can't say they're better than them right now the way New England's playing. I think they are, but not with the way the Bills are playing and New England's playing. So you're still looking at probably a season where sitting it here at this particular juncture, 7-4, maybe 11-6, gets you like, okay, we're the 5 seed or 6 seed. And then you see what happens. But I want to get your overall thoughts on what you saw last night, where you want to go with it, and how you fix it. There is one thing I will tell you that's not going to happen. They're not firing the head coach today. They're not firing the general manager today. You might want that to happen. It's not happening. They're not. If you want that to happen, and maybe it happens at the end of the year, if this team misses the playoffs or even bows out early, who knows? I mean, there could be a change. But as much as you may be frustrated or want them or have wanted any of them fired, now the OC, I don't know. I mean, there was a change made at OC in December a couple years ago. So I would never take that off the table, especially with 10 days to go, 10 days before the next game. What I mean by that is, even though Sean McDermott said, Joe Brady's the offensive coordinator, no consideration of changing him a couple weeks ago, we've seen that happen before in December. Granted, it was maybe a couple weeks even before this, this particular time period, but it did happen. So how do you get the answers from internally? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have them. And you just try to hold on for dear life and see what you can do. 803-0550 is the phone number to call. Where do we want to go first? Okay, let's, by the way, thank you very much for calling up here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have you, for the first caller here, Joe Kelly, bring up Jeff and Depew, and then I will refresh my call screen from here. So you bring up Jeff, and then I'll do that. Go ahead, Jeff. You're on first. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, well, where do we start? Joe Brady got to go. How many times do we see the same plays over? Number 2, the end of the season, McDermott, goodbye. You're not taking us to the Super Bowl. I called last year and I said that. He wouldn't take us to the promised land. He's not going to. And number 3, Mr. Pagula, wake up. You see what's going on. Do something. You are the owner of the team. You run the show. Wake up. And the last comment, playoffs? Did you say playoffs? Ain't happening.
Okay, I disagree with the last point. I still think they're a playoff team. Let's go to Clover in Texas. Thanks for the call. Clover, hi.
Hey, Sal, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate you, Sal. I know he had a long night, long week. After sleeping on it, I thought this was just a tough assignment for these Thursday night games. They don't really set you up for success. What I saw on Sunday, I thought they, after coming off that Miami loss, I thought they just made some great adjustments in the game planning to win at Tampa Bay. And that was still a tough game. I mean, they went all out. And then to turn around game plan for this, travel, still dealing with injuries, and the number one defense, I heard you guys talking about it all week, was just really tough. And then, there were so many things that were set up, that happened that just put them in a tough spot. The field position, I heard you mention on Jeremy Joe, that was rough. I heard Joe talking about that last touchdown drive before the half and how it was so bad they gave that up. I mean, if they didn't do that, we might have won the game. But I was just wondering what you saw as far as the defense being tired, because I know there was kind of a decent drive and then they got a stop, and then Allen had the interception, so they had to get back on the field, and then they got another stop, and then Davis had the return, so then they had to get back on the field again. So I was thinking that they were probably tired, with that minute and a half drive to go, and maybe that's why they just had a tough time stopping. But I think moving forward – oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. You asked what I saw. I agree. I think they were tired. The time of possession, Clover, in the first half was only a minute difference. Texans a minute and a half more than the Bills, 15:42 to 14:18. But I do think that last drive, you go back and look at it. Let me just take a look at it real quick. They got the ball. They had the ball. They went 12 plays, 57 yards, the Texans.
Oh, wow.
And then, wait. And then they get the ball back. They punt. They go 4 plays, 5 yards after the turnover. And then you have the kickoff return touchdown, and it's 6 plays, 75 yards. So, yeah, they were on the field in that second quarter quite a bit.
Yeah. But, I think moving forward, we saw Sunday. They have the ability to look at problems and respond. That was a really great response on Sunday. I think Gabe Davis is going to be really key moving forward. And then, maybe they could get a different role for Coleman. But I think with 10 days to prepare for Pittsburgh, I think they're going to be fine, and I just don't think the sky is falling. I just think they're going to be okay. But I appreciate the call and appreciate you, Sal.
Yeah, Clover, thank you for calling from down there in Texas, where I'm sure it was tough for you yesterday in the Lone Star State to watch that happen. Yeah. By the way, 9 minutes to 6 minutes in the second quarter for the Bills, Texans to beat the Bills into time possession. But I do think, just overall, that's right. They were a little bit gassed. And what I saw in that last drive was it just looked like they were playing almost like a prevent. We'll give up the yards, but then yards after catch hurt the Bills, and that was a huge, huge swing in the game, no doubt about it. As far as Gabe Davis, man. Keep thinking this morning, if Gabe's second foot comes down in bounds, it's so close. What is the conversation this morning? We're still like, oh my God, they got by and they can't keep winning games like that because of the offense. But you're still, what a difference, waking up today to 8-3 because of his foot comes down in bounds, not by any fault of his own. He made a nice catch, but foot doesn't come down and he's out of bounds. And here you are at 7-4 this morning. John in North Buffalo. Hi, John.
Hey, Sal. I must say, Joe Brady in the offensive line last night had the backbone of a chocolate eclair. 8 sacks. Josh was hit over 20 times, I think. The reason why we aren't winning the division this year is because of coaching and a weak GM, without a doubt, and it starts at the top. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter. Nobody will get fired. And, the book is out on the Bills, I think, and how to stop them. They are probably, at this point, one of the most predictable teams in the NFL.
Yeah, some of that was on Josh, but certainly most of it was not. You do have to say Josh should have thrown the ball away a couple of times, took a couple really bad sacks, stepped up into a couple pressures, but there was just too much pressure right away. And rarely have I seen this Bills offensive line get beaten physically the way they did last night. They were beaten physically last night, and rarely have I seen that from this offensive line. It happens once in a while, but usually not to this degree at least. Those two edge rushers, we said it going into the game. Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter, those guys getting after it. Really got after it. And it was a tough assignment and task, but the Bills didn't help themselves. And Joe Brady maybe coming up with answers, chipping, helping out, double teaming on the edges. That didn't happen enough maybe. But Josh also didn't help himself a couple of times trying to play hero ball. But why does he play hero ball sometimes? It's because he's looking for something to develop that doesn't develop, and it's not there. And that's tough as well. Let's get to Rush in Amherst. Hi, Rush. You're on WGR.
Hey, Sal. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you.
I want to talk about the offensive line here.
Yeah.
You got two huge tackles that are very good players. And you're going up against the number one defense, and neither one of them guys showed up. I know Brown was hurt, but I saw Dawkins quit on a bunch of plays, just let the guy go by. They're asking Allen to do way too much in this situation. Number one defense. These guys got to step up. Come on. You got the greatest football player ever played a game behind you, and they can't hold a block for more than 2 seconds on these two guys. I mean, granted, those guys, they're the best in the game. There's no doubt. I haven't seen that. That 51 is probably the best rusher I've seen in a long time.
Wait till you see Myles Garrett in a couple weeks.
Yeah, this guy is better than him, believe me.
No, I don't think so. He's great, but Myles.
Dude. I don't know.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
let me tell you this. Deion Dawkins, just for a little preview, has said before, and he will tell you, the toughest guy for him to ever block is Myles Garrett. And I think Myles Garrett is the best in the game. But anyway, the point is, you're right. He's really good. I mean, he's great. Last night, what you saw from that. But I'm just telling you, think those guys were really good. Wait till you see Myles Garrett. The difference is they have two of them in Houston, and they showed it last night. Let's get to Brian down in Florida, Boca Raton. Hi, Brian.
Hey, good morning, Sal. I hope you're doing well today. I know the tough one there last night, but now that I'm thinking about it, I just want to say the Deion Dawkins false start penalty on 4th and 1, inexcusable. You can't do that. The game on the line. You're a 10-year veteran. You're making a mistake like that. But I think Sal, this goes to a bigger thing here. I called into your show before. I'd mentioned about the program that the Bills have. We're now in year 8. We do not have a Super Bowl. We do not have a Super Bowl win. We have no way. We don't even have an AFC championship. We have let the prime go by with Josh Allen. We have continually every year drafted poorly. We have made poor free agent acquisitions. We are now past the prime in the NFL within that first 5-year window. That really is kind of your window to win with a once in a generational talent like Josh Allen. We are past that. Now we can see where the cap is. We can see the talent around Josh Allen. I hate to say this, and it's extremely critical of me, but the accountability now with the program and the whole trusting the process, defending our dirt, everybody eats, this is not working anymore for this team. I know it's a drastic change, Sal, but in order for this team to take the next step, Terry Pagula is going to have to make some incredibly difficult decisions here in the offseason, and I think they need to be made with both your GM, Brandon Beane, and the head coach, Sean McDermott. I'm looking to bring, honestly, Brian Dabble. I think he had a great rapport with Josh Allen. He got Josh Allen that offense to go, and I would also try to bring in Joe Schoen if he gets let go in New York. But I'm telling you, from a program standpoint, this is not the same Bills team from 4 or 5 years ago. You don't see that energy. And with it's like every year there's something leaky. You have a defensive line that can't stop anything this year. You're 31st in the league. You have 153 yards a game going against you. In other years, it's our secondary has struggled, or lack of wide receivers for Josh. I mean, what do you think really needs to change in order for them to finally climb that mountaintop and win a Super Bowl for Buffalo? Because other than making a severe change, I don't know how this team can go any further. And I do think they'll go to the playoffs, but they're getting bounced in the first round. You can't stop the run in January, you're finished. So I know it's critical, but
all right, Brian, thanks for the call. It's Dable and Shane, by the way. That's how you say their names. Just so you're aware. Brian Dable, I've heard his name floated around a lot since last night. I mean, Sean was asked McDermott point blank if he would consider bringing him back in any capacity. He said that's not under consideration. I think it's, there's out there like about the two in their relationship. I don't know. I think that's a bit overblown, but either way, I don't see it happening. Brian Dable's getting paid by the New York Giants to do nothing essentially while he can wait for his next move. I'm sure he'd love to be a head coach again. And if you want to be the next head coach for the Bills, so be it. I would point to the fact, though, that, he did not have a good record as a head coach in New York, but also looked like they found their quarterback in New York, and he did have a rapport with Josh Allen. But if you want those kinds of changes made, they are drastic, and it's something that I don't know if Terry Pagula would have the appetite to do. It is interesting. I've read people today, and I want to, by the way, Paul Hamilton is going to join me in an hour because I do want to at least get a little preview on the Sabres tonight. But I want to ask Paul, too, this really interesting question, because I think you can look at it both ways. There are people who say, fans, I've read you and heard you say that, like, Terry doesn't do anything in hockey. Why would he do anything in football? He actually has done. The Sabres have had 7 head coaches in the last, since the drought, since they fired Lindy in 2013, in 11 years. I'm sorry, 12 years now. And several GMs, right? So that's a lot. So I do think there have been shakeups and changes made. I think it's your perspective, though, because the GM they currently have has been there a while and they haven't made the playoffs. The Sabres, that is. So I think that's where people get to, he's too patient. So I don't know. I don't want to get to right away. It would never happen. I don't know what it would take to happen if that's missing the playoffs entirely. And a lot of you want it to happen sooner rather than later. I think you still need to let the season play out. We'll see where it goes. 803-0550 is the number to call. Good start to the program. Really appreciate all of you. Thoughtful calls. I know a lot of you are very upset today, and rightfully so. The Bills played a poor game last night from top to bottom. And now they find themselves in a really tough situation here in mid to late November.